There are multiple ways that we get to a Sean Gathright, and in my personal opinion, it starts with the concept of boys being easier to raise and men are simple. And then to add on to the reasoning, you move your child to the suburbs and you don't teach them their Black culture. To start with the former point, the idea that boys are easier to raise is having a detrimental effect on our society as a whole, and it has been having an effect throughout history, but that is how we get to a Sean Gathright, because you're not pointedly teaching your children, mainly your son, about how to operate in this world. You're not giving him a solid foundation because he's so easy to raise. Boys will be boys. And so you're not giving them the foundation that they need to make good decisions. And then once they become men, men are simple. Y'all need to make men complex. Y'all need to make boys complex. Y'all need to make men complex. Men, if you're grown, you need to make yourself complex, because men are only simple because of socialization. And that doesn't mean that you have to become whatever your negative thoughts are on women. It means that you have to develop a personality, develop morals that are outside of societal factors. A solid foundation on your masculinity, a solid foundation on who you are. That doesn't matter who your friend group is. It doesn't matter what is on TV. It doesn't matter what is in the music. And yes, you're always going to be influenced by your environment, but if you start building the solid foundation in their childhood, or if you're a man and you want to use your free will, you can start building your solid foundation that is not dependent on things that are external. If we bring in the second point of teaching your children the Black history, when you either keep them in a Black area or you take them out of a Black area and move them to the suburbs that are predominantly white, and don't pointedly teach them the multiple positive things about Black history and Black current, then you result in them learning just like white people learn about us, just like the diaspora learns about us, just like the entire world learns about us through music and movies. And then people think those are the apex of what Black history is about, when it's only on the surface, and there are so many more dynamic things about our Black history. So when you don't have an alternative for them to think about what is being Black besides being a thug, being a criminal, doing all these criminal activities, then that is what they're going to resort to finally be Black. Then you have the societal effects, where you have bad men who are over indexing and over saturating the market of what these boys and these men get to consume. So you have the red pill podcast, you have the streamers, you have the rap music, you have the gangbangers who are willing to go and recruit people, and all of this is going to have an effect because you don't have parents who are actually parenting and providing their children with positive influences. So they have to rely on raising themselves because men are simple and because boys are easier to raise, so they're not actually being raised at all, and they have to resort to getting their own information. So if you're not putting them in the youth auxiliaries because now everybody is attacking everything Black, you don't have them in church, which is fine that you don't have to be religious, but you have to have an alternative to what the Black church provided. It provided that structure, it provided the Easter speeches, it provided them being junior deacon and all this stuff. And I have absolutely no issue with people deconstructing from religion, but you have to supplement what the religion provided us in a historical and cultural and sociological context, and provide that to them in an alternative way. You have all these people denouncing, renouncing, and calling out the D9, thinking that the D9 is only about strolling, when they have youth auxiliaries, they have the Kappa League, they have the Sigma Betas, they have the lamp lights. I can't remember what the Omegas is, but they have all these auxiliaries. Because everybody think they demonic, you're not putting them in that structure. You're not taking them to the Boys and Girls Club. You're not taking them to do martial arts. So you just got your boys out here just all willy-nilly and not giving them any type of structure, whether it's grounded in Blackness or grounded in some type of discipline, and then wondering why you get a Sean Gathright. Because all these parents are trying to give their child what they never had but you not giving them what you had by growing up in the hood or a predominantly black neighborhood, or growing up in the country doing farm work. You're rescuing your child, removing them from the country, removing them from the city, removing them from wherever, and then putting them in a foreign land and not teaching your foundational practices. So we get a Sean Gathright, a John Morant, we get all of this from people not pointedly raising their sons. And then on top of that, once they become men, they have all these excuses for why they're not using their free will to become better people. Men are simple, become more complex, because you need to be in the world providing goodness that can counteract the bad that is happening. So you do have men who are being positive in our society, but y'all need to be over indexing and bring more positivity. You can't be a good man in your house. You got to be a good man in the community, so that boys have good men to look up to and have an alternative to the badness that is in our society, in our music, in our movies, in our neighborhoods.